Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I go by Lune INNATE, and today I'm going to be sharing with you, sorry for my weird angle, I'm trying to aim here, but today I'm going to be talking with you about what I would believe to be some very good suggestions on the best crystal for your zodiac sign. I just want to talk to you a little bit about what I mean referring to the best for your zodiac sign, because there is no best for a zodiac sign. It's what you need. Like, I might be a Cancer, and if I'm feeling quite emotional, then maybe having a stone that is tied to Cancer might not be the best. Like, maybe it will make me feel more emotional, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Or if someone is an Aries, they might have a lot of fiery energy, and if it's becoming obsessive and almost aggressive kind of way, I'll say, then perhaps a Aries stone might not be the best for them. I hope you see what I mean by that. So what I've chosen for you today, I've written some down so that I can share with you more than just one for each sign. But I've chosen one to represent each sign here that I have in my office, so I can make some sounds for you and turn this a little bit into ASMR and just kind of gently chit chat, and talk to you about the different properties and stuff. But I'm going to use the term, obviously, like I said, best crystal for your zodiac, but what I would love for you to consider is the way that I use this. So when we say best sign for your zodiac, like, okay, but you know what, in your chart you have every sign. Every sign is in your chart in some way, shape, or form. Now, maybe the stronger positions, there are positions that are stronger, like the sun, the moon, the rising, different planetary, what planet is in what sign and stuff like that. Like for me, my 12th house has Leo, and there aren't any planets nestled in that sign in my particular chart. So Leo might not be a very strong element, but it certainly is an element that resides in my 12th house. I know that sounds a bit confusing for those of you who aren't really super knowledgeable on astrology. I'm not super knowledgeable on astrology, not like super nerdy. I could tell you the in-depth esoteric descriptions of every single house. I still do my own research, so just to put that out there. But essentially, how I think is the best way for us to look at our charts and be able to choose the best stone for us, or one of the selection of the best stones for us, would be to go with the sign of your North Node position. Now, if you follow me on lesson sessions, if you follow me on Patreon or Vimeo, or my video subscription through my website, you've probably seen the foundations one where we talked about astrology a little bit and some book recommendations and different stuff, and the North Node was certainly part of that. And I'm pretty sure I've made other videos talking about that stuff anyway. But to give you an idea, the North Node is what we can associate as an aspect which our soul has come into this experience, to fulfill, to live, to walk, to magnetize to it. And the South Node position is what we've had a lot of experience with. So you'll find that they're always quite polar, on the zodiac wheel. Not to confuse you, I'm a Cancer North Node, and I'm also a Cancer Sun. So stones that are just good for me, as in good for me for balance, good for me for helping me to stay on my path and stay in alignment with what my soul has come into this lifetime to experience. I choose stones very often that resonate with the Cancerian energy, which I'm going to go over with you. So I'm going to put a link or two below to help you discover what your North Node sign is if you don't know already. If you have your chart, you can look for it there. You can definitely Google a calculator, like North Node calculator, and get some information. There's lots of good stuff written about it. I'd say the book Astrology for the Soul is my favorite book on the North Node positions. It really was very helpful for me to understand that kind of stuff. It's never about leaving the South Node and only embracing the North Node qualities. It's about unification of these two, and that's where we find our success or fulfillment. So to give you an idea, like I said, they're always quite polar. So I'm a Capricorn South Node, Cancer North Node, and it just goes that way, you know? So anyway, I do have a few things here. Do I? No. Let me rephrase that. Where's my... There we go. Alright, so I wanted to just take a moment to promote my kind of friend. I hope I can say friend. Never met her in person, but I just love her energy. An artist, a tarot oracle card creator, tattoo. I know she does tattoos sometimes, and just cool chick named Holly Simple. A lot of you probably know of her and have seen her decks. They're quite popular, but she has a new oracle card deck coming out, which is called the Amulet Friends oracle card, and she basically has a Kickstarter. So I just wanted to put it out there for those of you who kind of like collecting decks, or you know of her and you're like, oh yeah, like I would order that deck anyway, so let me help and get it through the Kickstarter so she can, you know, get it made. But this deck is one of my favorites. I use it personally at home very often because it's so simple, but I feel like you really see a lot in the characters and the playfulness and the humor and the weirdo-ness and the surreal that I'm all about, but very smart and very I don't know, like cool. Like, I don't have a better word for it right now. Mercury's in retrograde by this point, and I'm one of the type who get hit kind of early, and it's all here. You know, hopefully this is like the least of it, right? So I thought I'd pull a couple cards for us to just like tap into this and just make this video like a chill little session for us. I'll definitely be putting timestamps below for those of you who want to jump ahead, but if you're into it. I'll put Holly's Kickstarter information below. She has some really great like rewards, I guess you call it. So you can like just order the deck. I think I got the deck with like a talisman, because I like that kind of stuff, and I think it's cool that she makes all of this stuff herself. She's a Philly based at this point. I don't know if she's from Philly, but being from South Jersey myself, I have a pretty sweet spot for Philly. Did a lot of drinking in Philly. Alright, so let me focus a little for a sec. Just want to set an intention to pull some cards that speak to individuals at the right time. Just give them a little information if it resonates. Okay, so let's pull 3 cards. Just do 1, 2, 3. I love this one because it's like hologram, yo. I'm kind of recording this, I think it's around 9 o'clock at night in my office when it's nice and quiet, and I just felt myself relax finally, so I feel like I should have waited to start recording. Alright, so we have love, and it has like, you can probably actually see it in focus from where I am. Got this like aura around and coming out of the eyes, and for me this is speaking of connecting to the projection of love, of choosing with deliberate movements, deliberate intention to tap into the love that you are so divinely connected to at any point. It's as if you could put your hand on your heart and it goes into this like Indiana Jones portal through the bug thing, but it's not a bug thing, it's like right to pure love. And you can connect with that, and you can literally beam that out of yourself through your eyes and what you look at, through your body and the waves that you want to create in the atmosphere. And this is a really nice thing to do presently. We're in Pisces season. Everyone is quite sensitive. They're going to be sensitive to love. They're going to be sensitive to the good feelings as well, and not just the stuff that makes us feel raw. So to tap into that as often as you like, just remember that that is where we want to be focused on, because while we're quite sensitive, or even if we're moving into Aries and we're more aggressive, or as we go through the year into Taurus and we might feel stubborn or Cancer and emotional, you can see what I mean. There's always a time to remember that we can always tap into love, project that, send that out, and communicate that way, even beyond words. All right, that's a beautiful message. Then we have surrender, and for me this is just very much about going with the flow, not trying to fight the current, not trying to make a shoe fit that doesn't, not trying to force things. We lose authenticity when we force things, don't we? We lose a part of ourselves when we're jamming something to make it happen. That's not real, you know? That's not authentic, you know? Sorry to use the same word a bunch, but surrender, go with the flow, be aware, take a step back. What's the moon up to? What day of the week is it? What season are we in? What's happening energetically in the cosmos? What's happening here on Earth? How is the collective feeling? What can I work with here? How can I make this work for myself, you know? It's not surrender as in I've been defeated. It's like surrender like I'm not going to fight the current right now. I'm going to let it take me out, and I'm going to enjoy it, you know? I know a lot of you really don't like tapping, and I'm sorry. But it's just going to be one of those videos. My next video is an aura cleansing video, and there won't be any tapping as far as I can imagine. I'll do my best not to tap. Okay. And the last is courage. It's got like an interesting look going on here. I'm not quite sure what this shape is, but it's definitely like a crescent, but it almost looks like like a half moon, half sphere, but it almost looks like it has like a lip or something in it. There's a severed hand, which I love because it's part of my family coat of arms, is like a severed hand. So like when I got this deck, I was like, oh my god, there's severed hands in here. Yeah. And here there's like it looks like horns in reverse. Now I might be reading this like this might be actually like a cartoon ear, and this might be a mustache for all I know, but I think we should always read cards how like we feel the energy from them. And courage is this has come up in my life a little bit, not personally in my life, but I've seen this, I've been a witness. Essentially, a lot of us sometimes, when we're trying to grow, we depend on other people, or we feel like rather that we have to depend on other people. And what I mean by that is sometimes we feel like we can't do something unless someone helps us, or it's not going to be successful unless my friend helps me out, or I get this advice, or my friend does my makeup, or somebody shares it, or I'm never going to be successful until, I don't know, friggin' whatever writes an article on me, or like, I don't know, like something like that. Like we look for these kind of, I guess what I'm trying to share here through courage is like, courage is being able to see that true security is a facade, you know, like there is no security except for the security in yourself and what you've created for yourself. So I feel like some of you are considering going out on your own, or you're really trying to grow, or there's something and you might not feel supported. And while we need to go with the flow, we need to move from love and authenticity and all of these things, of course, and use discernment. But if you have something where you don't feel completely like you have it all yet, there's a courage in just making it work, putting yourself out there, doing it, showing up. And if it fails, like learn from it and apply to the next time. If you take the lesson from something, there is no failure, right? So that's what I see for us. That's the message. We're going to carry a lot more than we think we would be able to, I'm not saying we should force ourselves. I'm not saying we should, stay up all night, every night, break all our good habits so we can get stuff done, or self-care. I don't mean that, but something's there for us to know, like, we don't need a net this time, There never was a net. The net is fake. And that can scare us, or that can liberate us. I love this, I hope the next one has this, because I really like the whole box shape design. Alright, so hey Holly, if you're watching, I love you, and you do awesome, cool stuff that inspires me every day. Alright, I actually have another shop to share, which I'm going to save towards the end a little bit, but I do have some notes. Alright, so let's go over some stones, and I hope that this helps you in some way. So for Aries, the stones that I would choose would be fire quartz, fire agate. Well, I'll explain them a little bit. Fire quartz to me has a somewhat punchy energy. Quartz itself is known as an energy amplifier, a conductor, and I think that quartz in general was a very good choice for Aries to work with. I chose fire agate as well as a possibility because if you've ever seen fire agates, they are of the most beautiful. I don't own any. I did used to own a couple of tumbled pieces, but I've kind of passed them on. But there are pieces of fire agate that are like so expensive and so incredibly gorgeous. You're just like, how is this even real? Some aren't that expensive. Like the tumbled pieces I got just had this like little bits of that really shiny, fiery look that they have. I don't know, like illuminated. I don't think it's like a labradorescence, but it flashes like that, like really, really bright and gorgeous. And I really, sorry, I'm like repeating myself too much, but that energy is so beautiful for Aries and stepping into Aries. Fire and Mars, kind of connected. The fiery energy, of course, can be, everything is male and female, masculine, feminine, yin and yang, negative, positive, like all of that, of course. But I really think that fire to me feels a bit masculine in terms of the energy of it, as in it's like doing something. It's like expressive and outward. So I really love the fiery stones for that purpose. I actually have here a little chunk of fire quartz, which I feel has a lot of like heat to it, a lot of energy that makes me feel like I want to go do something. I want to get something done, and I really love the stone in that way and working with those kind of things. Other stones that I would suggest for tapping into that Aryan energy would be something that is terminated, so pointed, something directional, because Aryan energy is very like, I'm going to go do it. Oh, I had an idea how you to do it. Let me go do it. Let me get started. Let me start that project. Let me do this. Let me go here. And it's like very aware of the self and the self-expression and the wants, and I'm starting, I'm going somewhere, and as it is the first in the Zodiac wheel, it's very good at getting things started, so I think a terminated stone is really ideal to work with in that way. Calcite, particularly a red calcite, orange, yellow, something of the fiery or earth-toned kind of nature. Calcite is, as I work with it, is quite an energy amplifier as well, like very punchy, again, very boosty. So I think that is another great one to work with if you'd like to tap into that Aryan kind of energy. For Taurus, I have chosen Kambaba stone. It's very fertile, it's very lush feeling. It has a sense of security and protection to it. It's very heart-based and loving, and just feels very solid to me, and that's what I think of when I think of the Taurian energy. I've also suggested Tiffany stone because that ties more into the royal vibe. I've never actually worked with Tiffany stone until quite recently. I got a piece of, like a little slice of it actually, and I love it because I put it in the center of my grid and put like a sphere on top of it, and it just adds this very royal or ornate, like having nice curtains in your home. I'm not really a curtains person, but I hope you know what I mean. Like, it just has like this really nice, organized energy, but of a higher caliber, I want to say. I'm not really articulating this properly. It has an opal quality as well, which I know is a bit watery, but there's just something about Tiffany stone that spoke to me for Taurus today, and I think it's that ornate, royal kind of energy of it. Another one I chose, which I do have one here, would be topaz. Topaz is another one that feels quite stable to me. Quartz is very stable, I would say. I mean, you know, I wouldn't necessarily associate it with Taurus though. Topaz has this multi-directional energy to it, which I think creates a harmony or a sense of equilibrium or groundedness more so than perhaps just plain quartz. So topaz would be another great one to work with Taurus. Geodes, I think, are another good idea for Taurus because they remind me of a home, like a little fairy house or something, and safety and retreat and like hiding your buried treasure or something like that. As well as smoky quartz. I think that would be a great one. Like even a smoky quartz geode, if there is such a thing, I think would be really wonderful. Smoky quartz to me has a very homey and comforting vibe, so grounded, you know, and that's why I would choose that for those looking to tap more into Taurus. Gemini, I would choose azulite. I hope I'm saying that right. Azurite? Oh goodness, I think it's azurite. Sodalite, blue topaz, fluorite, like a blue fluorite or a purple fluorite, emerald, or even moldavite. I have here a little, I guess it's a combination stone, but it does have some azulite in it, or blue, whatever it's called. Azul, you know. I'm really mispronouncing that and I'm quite embarrassed, but hopefully you know what I mean. I think that Gemini energy is quite looking to understand, looking to see all different sides and all different perspectives, but at the same time they're quite analytical, and they're quite, not so much as Virgo, but they get kind of close to their need to understand, their need to be stimulated by conversation in all different areas of life in general. So it might help you to look up where Gemini is in your chart and see if that plays in. You know, like I have Venus in Gemini, you know, and I seek a lot of, in my relationships, mental stimulation. Like that's quite important to me. So just in general, something that is fascinating, even a stone that is not on my list here, but fascinates or makes you feel like it's accessing your mind or making you think or putting you in this other place of being able to just understand all that there are so many idiosyncrasies, and maybe help to comprehend them even more. So I think that this would be a great one for Gemini energy. For Cancer, you know, I chose moonstone. Oh, you know what? Let me explain a little bit about the other stones. I'm so sorry. Let me go back there. So sodalite is another, what I was focusing on for Gemini was very mental. So for me, that's kind of throat chakra, lower mind, we could say, consciousness, understanding the situation, like in this lifetime, in this moment, in someone's history, and why they're acting this way in this moment, and how did you feel about that back then, and what made you think, and how do you think you could do better? Like really kind of like digging in a little and going deep. Sodalite is very good for communication, for comprehension and understanding. Blue topazes as well, but I'd say it's quite calming. So even though it doesn't really go with that intense Gemini energy, just thought I would bring that in as well to the mix. It can be a little heightening for some, Most of the time you see blue topaz in jewelry, very often actually, in like, you know, at the mall, like Macy's and like that kind of stuff. And they're quite gem-like and small for the most part, and I think that that's kind of the ideal way for them. Like topaz seem to like that. Fluorite, again, for the organizational thoughts, the clarity, the compartmentalization of being able to comprehend other people and other circumstances and what's going on. And oh yeah, I know they were late today, but I also know that they've been dealing with this, and they're like able to put the pieces together a lot more easily. Emerald, a very intriguing stone, and I just wanted to kind of come up, I think, for Gemini, and perhaps its ties to Mercury, as well as moldavite, and again, like another heightening, another like comprehending situations. I'm not really phrasing that right now. It has an extraterrestrial vibe, you know, and it's just very interesting. This glass like stone, glass that came from an asteroid, or was caused from an asteroid striking striking the earth. You know, it's quite intriguing and makes you think. So I don't know, I just thought that would be a good one to work with Gemini energy as well. And then we have Cancers. Clearly moonstone, you know, Cancers and the moon will always go hand in hand. They are ruled by the moon, or Cancerian energy is ruled by the moon. Very feminine, nurturing, supportive, calm. You're not going to really find some buzzy stones here, you know. So I chose moonstone, again, the mother stone. It's very motherly, maternal. Labradorite, very similar, definitely a moony-like stone. A very sky-like. Another feldspar, very similar to moonstone that way. I also would suggest something like pink agate. So this would be, all of these stones would be great for any of you who want to be more motherly, more, I hope I can use the word more feminine. I mean that as in like nurturing, like that kind of example of femininity, or that expression of femininity. Compassionate, understanding people's feelings, connecting to people on an emotional level. Pink agate is another great one for patience and being able to listen and react in a patient way. Chrysoprase, which is what I have here, which I do have a ring that I wear quite often with chrysoprase, because I absolutely love how it helps me to just be more loving and compassionate. It helps me to heal my heart, my inner child, so I can act in a more loving way, perhaps, and more patient way as well. Larimar, another one, also for its patience, chill vibes, emotional support, we could say. And aquamarine, another kind of watery feeling stone somehow. Again, very patient. That's kind of the theme here with Cancers. I'm not saying they're the most patient people, but the idea, like high road of Cancerian energy, is quite nurturing, and we need to be patient to tap into that, I would say. All right, I'm just gonna spin this around a little, make it easier for myself. All right. Oh, I'm missing one. Alright, so for Leo, I chose Sunstone. Sorry, I just want to see if my battery light is blinking. No, I'm good. Sunstone, which is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Most sunstone you'll see is quite fair colored for the most part, with these really orangey pieces of labradorescence or flash within them. It has such a warmth to it, such a brightness in this stone. Sometimes you can find pieces that are very flashy. I actually am very blessed to have one also that I got from the Real Crystal, which I absolutely love it. It's just gorgeous. It makes me feel very confident, very aware of my actions, if I could put it that way, like to be brave or to be confident or to move with an authentic vibe and just be like, hey, I'm here. You want to work together or not? You know, like that kind of thing. Citrine, again, very warm, very confident boosting, very able to tap into who we are, who we're showing up as, and all of that stuff. And that's what I have here, a little piece of citrine. apatite, particularly like a golden or yellow apatite would be excellent for working with Leo energy. It also has that energy of confidence and authenticity. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of the same themes here. It helps me, apatite specifically helps me to connect with, again, who I am, and who I am, even like if I'm in a group or if I'm by myself, like that version of me that crosses all dimensions, whether, because when I'm with my partner, he sees a different side of me, like I can really vent to him. I don't really vent to every single person, right? Like I don't want to be annoying or whatever. Like it's just not appropriate. It's not what I'm called to do in general. Where you guys see me and I'm in this role, and I have friends who see me, like my friend Marcella, and I'm quite silly and crazy and goofy with her. So it's like we have these different facets, but there are facets within ourselves that transcend all of them, and they will always be who we show up as. These tie into our morals, our family values, our core, and I really believe apatite to be super supportive for that. Gold is not a stone necessarily, but gold jewelry or gold in general, very warmth and sun-like, like the sun, Leo, the sun. And tiger's eye is the last one I chose. Again, for all of these things, confidence, blah, 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 all of that, showing up as your true self, tapping into who you are and living and breathing it, no matter who else is around. I hope I don't sound like a phony baloney when I say that. Okay, Virgo, I chose another fluorite, but although all fluorite is cubic fluorite, like fluorite forms in cubes, even if it's like a big hunk, the formations within that hunk are cubic. I am specifically saying here for Virgo, cubic fluorite. I know that sounds weird, but like I'm picturing a piece on your desk, or like a little pocket piece, or even the tetrahedron. Is that how I say it? Tetrahedron. It might be it's a different form, but basically like a diamond kind of shaped four-sided star, like a 3D four-sided star shape. Something that has a cubic nature to it, I think is very good for working with Virgo energy, logic, order, perfectionism. They're quite Virgo energy is quite like, no, it has to meet this standard, no, that will not do, no, this has to be just right. And there's a real beauty in not taking that too far, but tapping into that. Like I'm very particular about how I'm represented online. Does that mean that like there can't be ugly pictures of me online? Like no, but I don't want me like boozing it up, say, like I don't want that online, like that kind of thing. I hope that makes sense. Like how you want to set up your room, how you like your things to be, sacred geometry, like precision, stars, mapping, all of that stuff, I think goes very well with Virgo stuff. So understanding, comprehension, seeing between things and cubic things, which is why I brought out this giant piece of, you call this optical calcite, rainbow calcite. I think I heard Sage Goddess recently call this holographic calcite, which I love because it really does look like it has these holographic formations in it. But this is very good for helping us see with clarity. And clarity is another thing of Virgo. Virgo energy will tell you everything that's wrong with your project. Virgo energy will tell you why you could have done better last time. And I know that gets annoying, right? But it's also something that we need to hear, or we need to be able to tap into in ourselves. I also chose sapphire for some reason. And, obviously this is just complete intuition because I might sound crazy right now, but I don't know a lot about sapphire, but I picture like a tool of some kind, or a necklace, and it being cut in a precise way, like a precisely faceted sapphire to tap into some Virgo energy. And I am picturing like a blue color specifically, although sapphire does come in many different colors, but something cut, faceted, precise, perfection, something that is a perfect cut in some way. All right, Libra, let me just keep spinning this thing around. My own little lazy Susan here. All right, Libra energy is quite supportive in making things work and helping relationships go. You know, there's a downside to everything. I actually have another video on advice for the zodiac sign. So if you're into this kind of stuff, I don't want to like keep repeating things that I've said in other videos. If you want how I feel about different signs, you know, you could check something like that out. I'll put a thing up here. I think. But lepidolite, something to calm. They're very good at keeping things calm and balanced, or level at least, even if it's the boat's rocking. Like Libra can come in with like, we want this to be harmonious, we want this to be fair, we want this to be just and enjoyable for all, like everybody wins kind of situation. I thought lepidolite would be really good for helping tap into a sense of, you know, release of anxiety or release of stress, if that's anything rocking the boat here. Chrysocolla is what I brought out. Very helpful for communication, relationships, being able to express yourself and say like, listen, this is who I am and this is what I want, but let's work together. Let's meet in the middle. Let's make it happen without having to sacrifice too much of our own needs here, but also because we want to be together. We want this relationship to work, or any type of dynamic relationship. So Chrysocolla is very supportive and being able to communicate in that way. Something that is double terminated, like pointy on both sides. I'm picturing something that is naturally double terminated, like a double terminated piece of quartz, or even like a Herkimer diamond or something like that. But a carved piece would certainly be very good. We're here looking for the back and forth, the flow, the balance, the harmony, right? Like all of that stuff. Zeolites, I think, would be another really good choice for working with Virgo energy. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. Libra. All right, guys, I'm making content, but clearly I'm having some trouble right now. Sorry. Zeolites are various forms of minerals which tend to grow together. You might find a calcite with some amethyst, with some apophyllite growing together in some way. There's many different variants of zeolites in general, and I think that what I'm basically picturing here is things that have grown together. I don't know, this wouldn't be a zeolite, but for example, very often calcite will grow in amethyst. Like you'll see those gorgeous amethyst clusters with a dog tooth or whatever kind of calcite like growing within that. Or you'll see aquamarine growing with muscovite through it. Essentially what I'm saying here is stones that are growing together, stones that have grown around each other, formed together in some way, and are creating a balance and something beautiful together. I think that that'd be really special for Libra energy. All right, Scorpio. I actually chose selenite as one of the good ones for working with Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy can be quite intense, very transmutational, and I really love selenite for its moon-like ties, you know, like the goddess Selene, and it's very wand-like for the most part. Of course, there are polished pieces, but very often you see selenite in those stick-like formations or wand-like formations, and I really appreciate that with like the transformational energy of Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, but it does have Mars as one of its ruling planets, so it has this like fiery wateriness to it. So I thought a selenite wand would be really like very much tied to Scorpio. Black calcite, black tourmaline, black kyanite, those stones in general, you know, black stones are typically pretty protective, but they're also wonderful for manifesting, for holding space, for creating a healthy or safe perimeter to do your more mystical, magical Scorpio work, or just personal transformations. And the one that I chose today is actually called garden stone. There's a better name for it that I'm not remembering, but it's also known as garden quartz or garden stone. And this is a very shamanic kind of a vibe to it, this stone. So I really appreciate that for the Scorpio energy. I feel like Scorpio energy is quite shamanic in nature. From my experience, I am a Reiki master teacher and I have taken shamanic training. I would like to continue that, but I have taken shamanic training. I've been certified, but I consider myself an apprentice, so just to kind of put that out there. Every attunement I've ever received through Reiki has been quite comfortable, I've had some release, I've had some stuff come up, but nothing like what shamanic initiations or shamanic journey or any of that has done. That has made me really kicked my butt, and I feel like Scorpio kind of has that butt kicking energy. So I thought working with shamanic themed stones in general would be very good, hence the garden quartz here. Alright, for Sagittarius, this is going to be a little odd, but something with eyes, like something with, when I think of Sagittarius energy, I think of the journey or the journeyer. So something that looks like it has eyes, whether that means a Kambaba stone, or just something with two circles on it. I have this little guy at home that has, kind of looks like, it's pieces that have been removed of some type of stalactite, so it looks like it has two eyes. It almost looks like a sea turtle or an owl or something like that. I really thought anything that looked and spoke to you like it had eyes would be very good to work with for Sagittarius energy. Herkimer came in also for the journey, as I was meditating all this stuff and trying to think of what I would suggest. Herkimer for the journey. Herkimers feel like little spaceships to me. So again, another reason why I chose that, traveling in, whether it's interdimensional travel through your mind or something, or actually taking a journey. Another stone that I would suggest is one that you have either picked up on a trip or done while you were walking in the woods, or just kind of spoke to you and you're like, I don't know why, but I'm going to pick that stone up and put it in my pocket. Something that you got on as a souvenir, anything of that nature would be very good to work with to tap into that Sagittarius journeying, walking the walk, living my truth kind of energy. The one that I have chosen is called Picture Jasper. And if you can see, there's like this little window here in it's all brown, like earth tone. But right here, there's this black cutout of a window almost. And through it, it's like black and white or grayscale. And to me, I think of like going through it, like crossing through like the journeyer. So something that speaks to you of a scene as well would be quite helpful to tap into that Sagittarius energy. All right, we are on Capricorn. Another fluorite. I do really like fluorite for Capricorn. I feel like I've definitely said fluorites like three different signs, but fluorite is very good for being clear thinking and releasing negativity as well. It's quite protective of the aura in general and just cleansing of energy. And it makes me think of balance, and order and things like that. So because Capricorn is such I'm setting my sights on that, and I'm going to tackle that mountain. And when I get to the top, I'm going to see what next mountain looks good, and then I'm going to move on. They're very driven, a very driven sort of energy. It helps to have clear thinking during that. It helps to tap into that Capricorn energy with clear thought. So fluorite comes up again for Capricorn here. Malachite, which is what I have here. This is a piece of fibrous malachite that I got from Earthling 360 or E-360 on E360 on Instagram. Very powerful, very amplifying, very lush and fertile and wealthy things, money energy, So I thought that malachite would be very good for that energy in general. I really like the idea as well of display pieces, particularly I'm picturing like a piece of quartz that has different points on it. I'm sure we've all seen a hunk of clear quartz with different terminations or different crystals sticking up. You can get teeny tiny ones or giant big display pieces, but something about looking at the scape of of the mountain peaks there, and being able to set your sights and know that like your life, or rather life in general, is a series of mountains and challenges that we climb, or projects that we set out on, or times in our life, different time experiences. And if we can look at that and pretend we're like tiny, or we're seeing it from this bird's eye view, it's just was something I thought would be really nice to connect to through Capricorn energy. Shivalingam also comes up for Capricorn. That is an Indian water stone, as far as I know, like a river stone. Kind of dig them up out of the riverbeds and polish them. They form them in these kind of phallic shapes, but they do have a feminine and masculine energy to them. And I think that that's so good for working with Capricorn energy, because we have the goat, but it is like the mermaid goat or the fish, where it does come with this back end of like spirituality. Like I'm driven to move, I'm driven to have a house, but to do that I have to work. And what is my work? It's very spiritually based. Like there's more to it. There's more to the reason of why we want to achieve something in the material plane. It's often tied to some type of spiritual growth or personal growth in some way. So I really like the Shivalingam to tie to that, to Capricorn, as well as Nuumite. This is the last one I'm suggesting here. Nuumite is a quite powerful stone, definitely one that we don't necessarily suggest for crystal newbies. It can be quite heightening of the awareness. We can, as my friend Misty, I hope it's okay that I share, but she had obtained some Nuumite. She's quite a crystal nerd. We like to nerd out on that stuff. And I talked about Nuumite and how it's like not for beginners, and she was like expecting to get this super punchy, like high vibing stone, but it works in more subtle ways, where you might, in her case, have these kind of prophetic dreams and be like, oh shit, if I wasn't mature enough and I had that kind of prophetic dream, maybe I would blame myself, or maybe I would think I was responsible for something, or that I was supposed to like step in and stop something from happening. I don't want to like be very open with her story, but I'm just trying to share that that's why it is not for beginners. Like we have to have a maturity when we're working with that. So Nuumite for Capricorn, though, I love Nuumite as a manifesting stone, and Capricorn is so much about, in general, manifesting, making things happen, completing things, completing projects, completing levels of success or achievement, or seeing our bank accounts like roll up, so I really like Nuumite as an idea for that one. All right, so Aquarius, I chose specifically a aura point, an aura treated clear quartz point. Actually looks like a milky quartz point, to be honest. Aquarius energy is very new, right? Like it's very modern, like new ideas, tech. Like my partner is Aquarius, and it's very hard for us to communicate. Honestly, I'd say that's like one of our greatest challenges. It's hard for him to communicate with me because I'm so Virgo rising, like make sense to me. I need to process this. Let me understand. Like going that way. And he's very like, he can't even put it into words because it's up here like doing something, and when he tries to translate what it is he's feeling or thinking, it's quite difficult. So in general, I thought that these like newer kind of adapted stones, such as aura treated stones in general, are very fitting for Aquarian energy. Things with sparkles, rainbows, things that like almost distract you, ones you can look into and see like a whole world and get lost in it, like ones that make you feel like you're in outer space or something. That ties to me so much to like Aquarius energy. So if you have any in your collection, you're out crystal shopping and you see some with like rainbow or this flash or these kind of like patterns on it. Some stones have these like raised different sections when you really look at them, and they look like spacecraft or like pyramids or all this crazy cool stuff. I feel like that speaks to me so much for Aquarius energy. A pop of light as well, very out of body, out of mind, up in the clouds. Iolite, very intuitive, but I'm thinking also a little spacey as well. And ocean jasper for going with the flow. You know, they are the water bearer sign, going with the flow, containing that ocean, or like being okay with that ocean of thought, or that ocean of like, I don't say, I almost said ditziness, forgive me, but like this like spaciness, you know, like being okay with the ebb and flow of the spacey realms. And ocean jasper is more grounding as well, so it's quite comfortable, not too grounding, but definitely more grounding than the other ones that I mentioned, to balance a little of that Aquarius energy. All right, so for Pisces, I chose actually a celestial quartz, which, if you don't know, excuse me, I shouldn't say excuse me, right? If you don't know celestial quartz, they are also known as skeletal quartz sometimes. They're quite structural. They're quite, they look like spacecraft, they look like houses or castles, or it's kind of like very mystical looking stones. They're absolutely stunning. Celestials in general are of my most favorite stones. They're just so beautifully formed, and you can tell there's so much history and depth to them. A scrying crystal would also be something that I would suggest, like literally like a crystal ball, or a dark piece of like hematite to scry or look or peer into. Labradorite as well. Seer stones, you know, Pisces energy is quite mystic, quite sensitive, quite dreamlike, dreamy, sleepy, you know, that kind of thing. So howlite would be another one to help us get into that sleepy, dreamy, comfortable space, very relaxed in general. Agates as well, particularly, I don't own any, but there are agates that are, or there are stones of all kinds that have this, but I've seen these stunning agates that come to mind, particularly that have water in them, like a lot of water, not just like a little bubble you can barely see. But and hydro, I guess it would be called agate. Something really speaks to me for Piscean energy with those. That's definitely one I have on my wish list, something with water in it. But I actually brought in this piece that I was gifted recently, and I wanted to share this shop with you because it is so special. I actually have to share a story about this to make it like all make sense. But this is all about flow, right? Like Pisces is the fish, the two fish, polarity, flow, flowing between polarities, flowing between give and take, we could say. And I think I've shared with you guys that I've had a stone in my possession that I bought maybe a year ago. It's kind of an celestial. It was more like just the top of a scepter, and it was clear in some places and purple and smoky as well, like smoky edging. And it was so beautiful, right? I bought it on Etsy, and I got it, and it just never felt comfortable with me. I know that sounds so weird. It never felt like it wanted to stay. It wanted to just be left alone. Like I would do nice things for it, like cleanse it. I gave it like center stage on this cute little shelf that I have, but it never really wanted to be used or worked with. Like only a couple of times did it feel safe, or not safe, but like it wouldn't be imposing on the stone. I know I sound crazy. So I wanted to send a new friend a package. I wanted to send Angela Mary Magic this whatever, the stone that I had. And as I was packing things up for her, the stone, I was like, oh my God, yeah. Like, so I started connecting and asking questions through dowsing, like, does the stone want to go? Would it be good to pass on? And I kept getting yes. I was like, great. It's not really connecting with me, so why hoard it? Like, let me send it on its way. At least it will be on a journey then. Literally the same day, I got an email from someone saying like they wanted to send me a stone. They love my videos, you know, like all that stuff, right? And I believe they did say it would be an amethyst. So I'm just picturing an amethyst, right? Like that's all. Like it had like a fancy name. But then later, as I was talking to this person, they're like, oh, it's kind of like a Bramberg amethyst, which if you've ever seen them, they're absolutely gorgeous. And that's very similar to the one that I had sent to Angela Mary. I wish I had pictures of that stone. Maybe I do somewhere, but it was just very similar. So the same day that Angela Mary received her package, I received my package, and it's this little amethyst. I'm actually going to show this one close up to you because it's so intricate, and I want to share. These are kind of expensive, guys, like, not gonna lie. I really hate when shops on Instagram say like, oh, DM for price. I'm like, can you just tell me it's like $20 million so I don't have to bother you? Like, I'd rather see what things cost than have to message someone and them tell me this is like way out of my price range. I'd say they like range, but they are, on the more expensive side. This has the most beautiful energy, and when it came, to me it looks like a castle. And I'm trying to manifest my house one day, right? And it was this beautiful confirmation of trust in the flow. Like, I let go of this stone that I love so much, but I was like, I have to let it go, right? Like, I have to send it on its way. And literally the same day, a very similar stone comes that is much more for me and connects with me so much more easily. And it has a very similar energy. So Pisces energy is so much about trust in the flow of manifestation, trust in the flow of the universe has your back. And yes, amethyst is absolutely amazing. This is an celestial, another great one for Piscean energy. But I thought, like, how could I not share that this all happened in Pisces season and my story with this little stone? And I'm sure this makes me sound kind of crazy, but for you who connect with crystals, I'm sure you can relate. So I'm just going to bring you a little closer. So I hope you can see this better now. I'm going to put the name up because I feel like I might mispronounce it. It's not like I'll just put the name up, but it's a new discovery of amethyst, and they're so, like, have you ever seen anything so cute and old and ancient feeling all at once? I'll show you the back. I just can't explain how much it meant to me to get this little castle. It was such a validation of just trust, trust in the flow of things. So I hope that you found, So I hope that you found some of this video helpful in some way in choosing a stone for you on your path or your mood, Yes, we can go off the zodiac, but we can also go on what aspect of the zodiac wheel do we want to tap into? What would best support us today? Maybe I'm starting something and I want to tap into Aries energy. Maybe I need to communicate, or maybe I got in a fight with my partner and I want to approach him with more gentleness and love and compassion, and I might work with things in the more Cancerian or Libra realms, All of this is so much about intention. You can use any stone you want, like whether you're this or that, or you resonate more as an earth sign or a water sign, like there's no wrong. If it feels right to you, that's the gist, that's the trick. It is right. Whatever feels right is best for you. You know your energy best. But I hope that this puts a little more context into how I choose stones, or how you might be able to work with them and, go from there. I am planning to release a crystal healing course online. I do teach this in person, but I've had a few requests recently to do this online, so I am going to be doing that soon if you're into it. Thank you to those supporting the channel on Patreon or who have subscribed through my website for the Vimeo videos and the innate audio downloads and all of that. I'm so grateful to be building that little community over there. I'm very excited to see, where we go in a year and what we're able to build in that space. I just want to send you so much love and gratitude. I hope that you enjoyed. Please forgive my talking issues. And just laugh with me, and I'm sure you're a little perhaps tongue-tied as well lately. So much love and warmth to you from the bottom of my heart. As always, namaste.